The next one we are going to review...
Between Two Cities.
This is Between Two Cities. This is from Stonemaier Games. This is a game that just came out recently. It was actually a Kickstarter, which was successfully funded. And actually, that's a good point, because a lot of Kickstarter games, they're not that great.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, it's hard to fund on Kickstarter because there's a ton of board games on Kickstarter, like a ton. But Stonemaier makes great games. They actually are known a lot more for making components and accessories to games sometimes, like upgraded stuff like chips and coins and stuff like that. Anyways, this game is I think it plays up to 8 people?
3 to 7.
3 to 7. So, and what's unique about that? Usually when you have a game that has 7 players, the time length is 4 hours. But in this game, you can play with 7 people about half an hour.
Yes, it's about 25 minutes.
Yeah, the games went quick. We were able to do 2 back-to-back pretty quick.
Yeah, so this is a civilization building game. Think of like SimCity, right? Mm-hmm. But what's unique about it is that you can sit with 3 or up to 7, and really what you're doing, you're all sitting, think of like a circle table, and you're building a city with the person to your right, and you're building a person to the city from the left. Oh, that's stage left, stage right? I got it. Okay. So, like, for instance, if we were sitting at a table, me and Gerald would be building a city.
Yeah, we'd have a city, and Jordan and I would have a city, and then David and Jordan would have a city. Yeah,
so what's unique about this game, there's these tiles, and the first thing first, the components in this game are great. The tiles are nice and thick. They're well printed. They have all the iconography on them. I don't know the word. But all the icons are on it. They're very well printed. There's a couple different types. When you're building your civilization, there's like house tiles, there's houses, there's factories, there's parks, offices, taverns, and shops. I think I got everything. But what you're doing, you're building a 4x4 grid of your city. But the mechanic of the game is you take tiles from the center of the table that are face down, right? And these tiles have all those different types of buildings, and you pick 2. You take out 7, you pick 2, and then you pass the remaining ones to your left. So let's say, for instance, Gerald took 7, and he doesn't show anybody them. He picks 2 of them, and he's going to assign, of those 2 that he picked, he's going to put 1 in the city that he shares with Jordan, and he's going to pick 1 to put in the city that he shares with me. The part of the game that's fun is you have to, at the end of the game, the city that has the most points wins, but you take the city that has the least amount of points of the 2 cities next to you that you've created with your partner. So you can't
screw somebody. You have to focus on both cities at the same time. You can't be like, I'm going to put all my resources in this city and not this one, because you're based off of your lowest scoring of the 2.
You have to balance.
Like pulled between 2 cities.
Nice. The game is, I would say it's probably pretty easy to teach. What the different tiles do is based on what they're next to is kind of what gives you extra points. So if you put, for instance, thematically, if you put a house in your city and you have one of all the other different types, think if you lived in a city that had restaurants and factories and had all these cool things to go look and do, your house would be more valuable, right? So if you have all the different types of tiles that you can have in your city and you have a house, it upgrades those points. But if it's next to a factory, because no one wants to live next to a factory, it gets a negative effect.
Yeah, so there's all these bonuses based on if things are close to each other or not, whether your restaurant's
if there's
close
more tiles that are
so you're basically trying to optimize, it's like a puzzle, the way you're putting it together based on the tiles you're given, and you try to do your best for both sides. Gerald is awesome at it. He gets the exact same
both times
score.
we played, it was the same exact score for each city.
He's good
both
at
times.
Evening it up.
And that's the part of the game that I enjoy, is that a lot of the time when you have like civilization building board games, it's kind of, it's solitaire. I mean, there's some player interaction, but there's really not a ton. The one I think of is Suburbia. It's one of the classic city building games. And there is some player interaction. You can kind of screw over the other people while they're building their city. But in this game, you're literally working with the other player, because they're going to bring 2 tiles from what they took from the main pile, and you're going to bring 2 tiles. And what I enjoyed when we were playing is, like, let's say, Gerald, me and you have 2 really good tiles, right? Or let's say you have 1 good tile and 1 that's okay. Me and Jordan, since we're both sharing a city with you, we're going to start arguing, telling you why you should put it in our city and not in his city. And there's a lot of that. So there's a lot of negotiation and player interaction, which is usually missing from these kind of civilization building board games. So a couple things that I like. Well, do you guys want to review it?
Yeah, let's do the review.
Okay, so here we go. Hands out.
This super technical review.
Yeah, I love it. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Me and Gerald are thumbs up, and Jordan is again sideways. Again. Okay. Let's start with you, Jordan. Why is it sideways?
A couple things I don't like in board games is when they're over too quick, and I feel like this one just goes too fast. Like there's only 3 rounds, and you get to it, and you're just like, I'm just finally got my city where I want it to be, and now it's over. And that's the whole point: is you get to it, and it's over. But it's just like for me, I like something a little more drawn out.
No story.
There's no story.
There is theme, though. I will say there's theme. Because, like, if you have...
And it makes sense. And it's strategic. You very much have to strategize. And I enjoyed it. And I beat you guys really bad once I learned how to play.
Oh, God. So that helps.
So that always helps get a little closer to winning. But, yeah, it's not one of my favorites. It's not a bad game. It's a really good game. Like, it is enjoyable. And you have to put a lot of thought into it. But for my personal taste... For my thumbs up, I hold that thumbs up, that critical acclaim there.
Okay.
And so it has to meet the standard where I can't wait to play it. Like, I want to play it like Time Stories right now.
Yeah.
I want to play it right now.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Gerald,
played last week.
Gerald, why is yours a thumbs up? Why is this a great game to you?
One, it's easy to play. Like it's easy to learn. It doesn't take an hour to explain all the rules to get it. Once you get the hang of it, it's kind of one of those games that it's easy to play but difficult to master.
Yes.
Well, not even really difficult, but there's just a lot to it. And once it clicks, all the different things you can do, all the different combos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of strategy we didn't even get to, which is because once you learned it, you would know to look at other people's and see who's beating you.
Yes.
And then you could be like, well, I'm not going to help them because if they would be the loser if it weren't for that one. Or
right. So, like, for instance, at the end of the game, like, for factories, whoever has the most factories gets 4 points per factory. The second most city gets 3 points. So you're kind of looking over at the other cities going, okay, should I take this factory tile as the one I'm going to put in my city now? Because he's at 3 factories and I'm at 4. Do I think Jordan's going to put another factory this turn, or should I buffer it and put a 5th one so that he couldn't possibly catch up? There is a lot of that, which that's, again, player interaction is usually missing from these games. And that requires some interaction, looking at other people's cities. The reason why I gave this a thumbs up, a big thumbs up, is a couple things. And I kind of talked about it with the previous game we reviewed. This is that sweet spot of being deep enough, but able to play with anybody. I really do think, honestly, I could play this game with parents. I could play this with younger kids. I could play this with us and still enjoy it. Now, you guys didn't play they have a 2-player variant and they have a solitary variant. Do not play it that way. Unfortunately, it's just not, it doesn't have that feel. When you're playing the 2-player variant, you're playing like, let's say me and you were playing. We just both make 2 cities. I make 2 cities that I share here. With me, I share a city.
How do they decide about the winner?
The same thing. Oh no, you just add up both cities and whoever has the combined total.
Yeah,
it's not as good. So I would say the thing that makes this game incredibly awesome is the ability to play with 7 people and have it explained and played in probably less than an hour, which is pretty impressive.
That's pretty rare, right?
Yeah, most games that are 7 players or more than 5 or more than 4, to be honest, are party games. I mean, they're light party games where it's more, and I love party games, trust me. I have a ton of them on the ball, but it's more about having fun than thinking and strategy. This game gives you that. It gives you strategy, but it allows you to have a big player count, and it doesn't make, like, there's a game called Eldritch Horror that I love, and I've tried to play it with 6 players, and it's a nightmare. You are waiting forever for your turn. It takes too long. This game allows you, because really you're just playing, it's really a 3-player game. Right? I mean, it isn't because you're looking at other people's cities, but it's really you're just playing with the 2 people to your left and to your right. And that unlocks a good balance. And I really do. I love the tiles. I love although I know you don't like that it kind of ends quickly, like you're just getting your engine going and then the game's over.
Right, because I just figure out which way I want to take my city, but the city's so small.
Yeah.
I think I'd like an 8x8 variant.
Well, you might be able to play that. It just making the game longer. Just basically playing 2 games in one.
I like that you can do the game a lot quicker, because a lot of games, like when you're playing, like you said, with a bunch of people, you have to wait for your turn. You're just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs, not doing anything. This, you're playing at the same time.
Yeah, everyone's playing at the same time, which is cool.
There's always interaction. You're never really bored.
Yes, and I even like the little player markers. They're these little wooden
cities.
pieces. Yeah, they're cute. Like one's the Eiffel Tower, one's I thought that was falling.
No, I got it.
One of them is the arches in St. Louis. So I think it's a well-produced game. I think the artwork's nice. I think because a lot of times in these games when the houses give you a certain points and the factories give you a certain points, and having to memorize all that is incredibly difficult. The tiles actually give you good, quick icons to show you, oh, that's what that does. That's what that does. It's very well made. I would definitely tell people to recommend this because it fits that really sweet spot of not being mundane and not being too complicated. Does that make sense? It's not D&D and it's not Monopoly. It's that perfect balance of being enough strategy like D&D, but not being long and boring like Monopoly.
I agree. It's right in the middle. It really
It's a
is.
good middle game.
I prefer slider towards the Dungeons and Dragons versus the Monopoly.
And that's why it's the standard review.
That's right.
You got to pick what you want. Okay. I like this. We had two. You gave 2 thumbs up, man. Good job.